Support comes from the St. Louis Public Library Foundation. During these challenging times, free access to digital resources is a necessity. You can help our community stay connected. Support your St. Louis Public Library at slpl.org.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. There's no shortage of places to go hiking in the St. Louis region. There's also quite a lot of information available about how to navigate the outdoors. All the same, it can be hard, especially if you're a novice or someone who's unfamiliar with Missouri's natural landscape, to figure out where exactly to go or even whom to go with. Mike Roth and Jessie Donovan, co-founders of ShowMe Hikes, have created a network and community that provides opportunity and guidance around all the above. And they join us today to share how. Jessie and Mike, welcome to St. Louis on the Air.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, Elaine.
So what exactly is ShowMe Hikes? And this is Show Me together as one word.
Mike. We are the Show Me State. So I'm leading into the moniker. I had the name ShowMe Hikes for a while, but I didn't know if I wanted it to be a content creation engine on Instagram. I tried doing that a little bit, and I hated it. Mm-hmm. And I've been hiking in the Ozarks most of my life, and I decided, well, instead of showing people it through social media, I'm more of a communal, in-person type of person, and I was like, I would love to bring people out and show them where I'm at and engage with them out in nature. So we're there to literally show you what Missouri and the Ozarks has to offer in terms of our natural and human history so that you feel a greater connection to the place that you call home.
Mm-hmm. So the social media content production part of it, why wasn't that enough? Why did you hate it, as you said?
It's a little soul-crushing for me, honestly, just with my personality type and being able to keep up with creating content. And it was really distracting to be out in nature and having my phone out and feel like I have to record something or show myself somewhere. And the stories that the landscape shows you are really important, and those are best experienced in person. Mm-hmm. And Missouri can be a little obtuse. It doesn't have that innate natural grandeur that you think of when you're out hiking. For instance, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, Colorado, it's very easy to stand there and feel small and feel that awe. And you can still get that same feeling here in Missouri, but it's a little deeper. You have to have more of an understanding about what the land is telling you, about the history of where we're from, and I'm very much connected to that and love sharing that with people.
Mm-hmm. I also feel that there are already quite a few different pages and resources online to see different hikes and parks, and sometimes just knowing where to go isn't really enough. Like you said, Elaine, I want to go with someone, even though I know the name of this trail and maybe how long it is, and you see those stats in the Instagram content. Well, I want to actually go with someone. So we thought it was a better use of our time to be those people that you can come out with.
Mm-hmm. Now, the kind of background that each of you have coming into ShowMe Hikes is quite different. Jessie, how did you start, what we would maybe call your personal relationship to nature? Did that begin in childhood? At what point did this all start?
Yeah, Mike and I have quite different childhood backgrounds in relation to the outdoors. I did not grow up hiking or camping in a tent or going out on the river. I was raised by my grandparents, and they had mobility issues and also just, weren't really that interested in doing those types of outdoorsy things. I did grow up in North County, though, which for a suburb is surprisingly very woodsy, and all, like in my neighborhood, all of the homes had really large backyards, and they all butted up to the woods. So I spent a lot of time, it was just a classic 90s childhood outside all the time. Mm-hmm. And I would see on movies and, kids at summer camp and doing scouts, and I was always wanted to do that. I just never had the opportunity. And then it wasn't until college when I went to school in Columbia, Missouri, and there's actually a lot of good state parks and hiking trails. So I started hiking then, just sometimes on my own, but a lot of times with friends. And then I also started going on float trips with my friends. So that was my first experience camping in a tent, was in college. And then when I moved back to St. Louis after college, I was kind of in the boat that I think a lot of people who hike with ShowMe Hikes are in, where I want to hike, I just didn't really know where to go. And I didn't have friends that were really into that type of thing. And it wasn't until I met Mike and we started dating that I was like, this is awesome to have somebody who loves this type of stuff too. And so, yeah, we would hike all the time.
Mm-hmm. Some might say, Mike, that it's in your DNA to be into nature the way that you are. Your dad founded the Ozark Trail Association and was an advocate for spending time in nature. But what part of it is really the result of the personal interest that you have pursued?
I'll preface that by saying I am a good South City boy at heart. So I wasn't born out into the woods. I grew up running around city blocks with my friends on bicycles. And it was really my dad, John Roth, who drug us into the woods. And both my mom and my brother are not the outdoorsy type. I was in a canoe at 8 years old. My dad was in the other canoe. My mom would be in the front of my canoe. She would be in a lawn chair drinking Bud Light, and I would be navigating rivers, trying to figure it out. My dad's just like, go for it. That was a lot of our early family vacations, was going down to Eminence, Van Buren, floating on the current. We'd be going out to state parks. My dad threw a backpack on me that was as large as I was, and I remember being on the scale in our bathroom to see if it weighed as much as I did, because we were hiking up to the top of Bell Mountain to do a overnight backpacking trip there. So it was something that was certainly thrust upon me by my dad. I definitely had an aptitude for it. It's something I very much enjoy. I consider myself a river rat, and when Missouri starts getting hot like it is now, you can always find me out on the river. My dad had, we called it the farm. He purchased 330 acres in Crawford County. That's where he lived. And so when I was in high school, my friends and I, that was like the hangout spot. So if you're ever floating down in Bass outside Steelville and you do the long hike, the long float, you'll be floating right by my property. Mm-hmm. So my own personal journey really started much later in life. I was graduated college and came back home to St. Louis. And when I was here, I was, like everyone else, just kind of looking to get reconnected to people. Once you graduate from college, it's kind of this disorienting experience where you're expected to be an adult. You have to start having adult hobbies, do adult things. You don't have those built-in friendship groups anymore when you're in like dormitories and whatnot. So I just, with friends and my partners, I would be going out into the outdoors, discovering it more and more, and just falling in love with it again like I did when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. We're speaking today with Mike Roth and Jessie Donovan. They're the co-founders of ShowMe Hikes, and we're learning a little bit about your histories as well as the hikes that people go on. So to that point, tell us about how these hikes go. How do folks go about getting involved with this, Jessie?
Yeah, we have Instagram and Facebook pages. Although we don't really publish like content, that's where we post information of the dates of the hikes, and then we put out a schedule. We have a spring and fall season, and at the beginning of each season, we put out a schedule with the dates so that people can kind of save the date on their calendar, even though at that time you won't know exactly what hike it is. And then about 2 weeks before that date, we'll release like, hey, we're going to hike at Hahn, and that's when registration opens. So we don't use anything like Meetup. We have our own in-house website. So you would sign up on our website, and then you'll get our emails. And as hikes are open for registration, that's where you would sign up for the hike. Mm-hmm. It's free to sign up. We cap it at 20 hikers, and there's a wait list. So if you sign up and then you can't make it and you let us know, then we can always open it to the next person. And we'll just say meet at the trailhead at this time, and you show up.
Yeah. What else is happening along with feet moving on the ground, Mike?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, like what's happening over the hikes?
Yes, absolutely. It is a guided hike, and we really like showcasing the human and natural history of the areas that we're in. So when I'm picking the hikes that we'll do for each season, everyone needs, I call it like an Instagrammable moment. A lot of Missouri is out in the woods. The woods are awesome. I love the woods, but sometimes it can feel like you're just hiking out in the woods. So I want to make sure there's a memorable moment on the trail that people can associate with that hike and have that photo memory of the hike that we do. But I really like diving into the natural history in terms of teaching people about the trees and their purposes, also what they're looking at geologically. Missouri geologically is very incredible. We have a unique type of landscape here called karst landscape. It really defines what you'll find out in the Ozarks, which is cave systems, natural springs, sinkholes, these up and down rolling hills that are really beautiful to explore. So we really want to give you that context of where you're hiking, saying, this is what you're seeing, this is what you're looking at, this is why it's cool. Missouri's have volcanoes. Did you know that?
Yeah, now I do.
Yeah, and they're 1.5 billion years old. They're older than just about any other mountain system in the United States. The Rockies are only 80 million years old. We're 1.4 billion years older than the Rockies. The Appalachians are less than 500 million years old. We're 1 billion years older than the Appalachians. So there's a lot of things to tell about Missouri that I find very fascinating. And so I hope our participants do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of sets our group apart from some of the other meetup groups. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and there's women hiking, there's all kinds of niche hiking groups, and a lot of times it's more of like just a community meetup, which is awesome. It's like, hey, come to this trail, like I'll be there if you want to hike with me. But our group is a little bit more structured. We actually really act as guides. Mike's always in the front and I'm in the back. And then, like you said, always go over history, geology. I'm always in the back, like pointing out all kinds of native plants and giving some information. So neither of us are professionally or formally educated in any of this stuff, but we're self-taught and we just want to share what we know with other people.
What are some of the things that you've heard from the back of this train, from the caboose, as it were?
I don't even know, so this will be news to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes Mike will be in the front and he'll say, okay, we only have 2 more ups and then we're done. And people look at me and like, is that true?
I get clowned.
And I say no.
I get clowned.
It's never true.
You kind of got to be like the dad where you're like, we're almost there, to keep people excited to keep going.
You just hope people don't have their own tracker with the distance.
Yeah.
How long are these hikes typically?
So we have a progressive hiking system because I want to appeal to people of all hiking levels. So we do 4 hikes per season. The first hike is the shortest and the closest to St. Louis. We keep all of our hikes within an hour-and-a-half drive of St. Louis, depending on where you live, and we don't do any hikes shorter than 3 miles. So our first couple hikes will be 3 to 4 miles, our middle hikes will be 5 to 6, and then our longest hike was almost 8 miles. So we have people that only hike with us at the beginning of our program, people who only hike with us at the end.
Yeah.
The idea is that if you start with us, you can probably do all 4 as long as you consistently hike with us. So we can help build you up too and get your endurance there to be able to handle a longer hike.
All of the information that you are dispensing as you're guiding people on these hikes, I understand that you've had people on these hikes from other countries too, right, Jessie?
Yeah, that's actually my favorite thing about our group is the wide variety of people that come hike with us. At the beginning, we always go around in a circle and just say your name and where you came from today. And so a lot of people are coming from like St. Louis area. Sometimes when we're in we're further out, we'll be maybe an hour from St. Louis, but someone will come from like 10 minutes away because they live down the street. But there was one hike in particular where we were going around the circle. Someone said they were from Iran. Another person said Ireland, and someone else said India. So it was like all 3 eyes, which was interesting. So a lot of people, we have a lot of transplants to St. Louis. So whether you came from, I remember talking to people who moved from Arizona and they like always hiked out there and they were like, I didn't even realize you could hike in Missouri. So, or like you said, people moving here from other countries or even just visiting people and they just want something fun to do and to explore outside.
You were both mentioning to me the number of people who are part of your network, and you had 675. That is a lot of folks. What is your sense of what brings people back, Mike?
I definitely, we have a really good rate of people returning. I'd say maybe about 40 to 50% of people who hike with us are people who have hiked with us previously. So it's not all newcomers. We have and are growing a community of friends who love the Missouri outdoors with us, which, as Jessie mentioned, is really special something that we both really enjoy. But what was your question again?
Just what is it that brings people back?
Yeah, I would say that they love to see where we're hiking next. We've done 25 hikes. I haven't repeated a single conservation area or trail that we've done. So those are 25 unique areas that we've been to every single time. Mm-hmm. And so you don't know where you're going to be. There's that excitement to it. It may be exploring a new area or a place you've never been before. I think that and having that context as well, I think is critical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have 675 people who have registered on our website to get our emails. And I think we've had over 200 individuals actually show up for a hike over the few years that we've done this. So a lot of people will tell me, oh, I'm registered on your website, but I just, the date hasn't worked yet. So I think they want to sign up because they're just waiting for that moment when they're like, actually, yeah, this is the weekend I do want to come out.
Mm-hmm. And you were also sharing with me that there's something you wanted to announce about what is coming up next, Mike or Jessie.
So our final hike is actually Saturday, and we've closed registration for that. We're going to be down at the Buford Mountain area, which is outside of Bismarck. That's one of our volcanic mountains that we have here, which is really impressive. And to accommodate, because the rain's been pretty bad this spring season, we've had a couple hikes.
And in honor of us being here.
Yes. So we are going to do one final hike this year. It's going to be on May 30th. We're not going to announce quite yet where it is because we like a little suspense.
Oh,
but
mystery's good.
Yes, but you'll be seeing it on our Instagram and if you register on our website. So we'd love to have you out for one more final spring hike in the Missouri Ozarks.
Mm-hmm. And how do people get in contact with you or kind of keep up with what is going on, Jessie?
Yeah, I think the best way is probably to go to showmehikes.com and you make an account. We just need your email. And that will put you on our mailing list, and that's when you'll get the emails about the hikes that are open. And then in the fall, you'll find out about the dates early on. And then we are also on Facebook and Instagram. I run the Facebook. Sometimes I'm a day behind posting. So if you want to know about the hike and you want to sign up, definitely go through our website. So yeah.
Great. Jessie Donovan and Mike Roth are the co-founders of ShowMe Hikes. Jessie and Mike, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Elaine.
See you on the trail.
This episode was produced by Maya Norfleet.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Laura Hamden, and my colleague Jessica Rogan and I are your daily hosts of the Gateway newsletter. We meet with the editors in the STLPR newsroom every weekday to bring you the top local stories of the day in a quick and easy 6-minute read by 6 a.m. In an age of overwhelm, it's a refreshing, thoughtful take on the news day, if we do say so ourselves. Fine-tune your daily news habit with the Gateway newsletter. Subscribe at stlpr.org/gateway.